Hello, everybody. It's 11, so we are ready. We are ready to go, and we are 150 people. So thanks everybody for being there, and I hope you are all safe. You are all fine. I'm Susanna Albertini. I'm from one of the LIFT partners. And here we have partners from LIFT and from Urbio Future that will be presenting the results today. So, ready to go. This is the first webinar of a series of 4 webinars that will take place every Wednesday at 11. And I hope you will be joining. Actually, we have around 500 people that are 570. I don't have the final result, but a lot of people that are registered in our webinars. And then we will record all the videos, so you will be able to see them again. You will find the presentations online on the LIFT website, so you will be able to reach the information in case you, I mean, we are going very fast today, so maybe you would like to go back. And you will also find all the relevant links that you can consult later. So proceeding. So this is the first one, and we will touch 3 topics that are, I guess, interesting for more or less everybody that is working in the bioeconomy. That are awareness raising and communication, bioeconomy education, and stakeholder engagement and co-creation. The general title that we gave to this series of webinars is Shaping the Innovation Ecosystem for the Bioeconomy, because all of us are working to really do this and to really push the bioeconomy and the circular economy forward in this moment. So let's hope that this big crisis will be an occasion to reshape our way of living, and let's go. So the first action we ask from all of you is to take your cell phones, to go to menti.com and to enter the code 838424 to start interacting with us. So what we would like to know from you is what are your expectations for these webinars? So lots of insights. Are you all in, I hope? Okay. So learn about bioeconomy, ideas and examples, ideas. Oh, wow, you're all participating, that's great. Best practice, new skills, ideas, information, ideas and examples, best practice. Ideas is one of the main things, cooperation, new skills. We will take all these content that you are giving us, and we will make them available in the LIFT website. Okay, so basically information, ideas, best practice, cooperation, knowledge. So actionable knowledge is what we would like to convey to all of you, and seems what you really would like from us. And okay, I think we leave just a few seconds more because we see that you are interacting. We already have 129 answers, and you are still proceeding. So we leave you 1 minute more, 1 minute less, maybe 30 seconds. Okay, so information, ideas, best practice, cooperation, and knowledge. So this is exactly what we are giving to you. That is exactly this. So information, ideas. The first, I suggest to close here this session. Okay, and then we can go to the next one. So the next is the presentation. So we will have the LIFT presentation, just very briefly what is LIFT, what is about, and the presenter will be the LIFT coordinator, that is Alexandra Almeida.
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me, Susanna and all?
Yes, yes.
Hello. Okay. So good morning. So good morning from Portugal, from home, of course, as I think most of you. It's nowadays it's like this. So just some minutes to present LIFT. The objectives of LIFT are to provide a global vision of the results from coordination and support actions, not only from Horizon 2020 or BBIGU, but also from other programs like Erasmus and Interreg. By doing this, then we want to maximize the impact of these results by making them available, what we call, and Susanna already said, the actionable knowledge. At the same time, we are analyzing the existing gaps and identify challenges to be addressed, and these ones, they will be presented here today. And of course, we want to raise awareness and to communicate what was the impact, what is the contribution of these CSAs projects to Europe. And at the end, not available yet, the project finishes in April, and these webinars, for instance, are a way to finalize it and to have these final recommendations and suggestions for future CSA topics. In terms of outcomes, well, they are related with the objectives, but we analyze more than 60 projects, 60 CSAs, or what we call CSAs-like projects, and from there we created 11 fact sheets. 3 of them will be presented here today: the number 1, 2, and 3. And then on the other 3 webinars, we will present the other fact sheets. They all follow the same structure as you will see. Also, we created the Bioeconomy library that is an online database of all the results and outcomes of CSAs. And then this, for instance, is one of these activities to facilitate the mobilization and mutual learning among projects, among different projects in different programs. And of course, after that, and to finish with the recommendations for future CSAs topics. These are the resources for now. We have the European Bioeconomy Library that you can check on this link. By the way, of course, this webinar will be made available after we are recording the session. And the 11 fact sheets are also available on the European Bioeconomy Library. And as I said, the recommendations will be available during April. So that's it for LIFT. We go now to your feature. Alex.
So this will be, we will have a brief presentation of Urbio Future, and the presenter will be Alex Barrera.
Yes, here is Alex Barrera. I'm going to introduce you briefly which are the main objectives and main outputs of your BioFuture project. As you can see in your screen, our main objective was to map which are the current ongoing programs addressing bioeconomy, and we also identified which are the industry needs related to bioeconomy. And with this information, we tried to identify which are the gaps between the industry needs and the current educational programs. Our main objective was to provide a document or some inputs to educational institutions in order to improve their programs, in order to be more aligned with the industry needs. So these were our main objectives, and we also developed some materials in our BioFuture experience, where we try to push people to this sector and to bioeconomy studies. So in the next slide, you can see, this is the next slide. Okay, so this is the process we follow to develop the project. As you can see, we planned to have some outcomes in all the stages of the project. That's why, for example, in the design of the project, we developed the stakeholders list and also instruments to get data. And these instruments will be available. So if anyone in any context want to use the instruments we developed a survey and also interviews and a guide to develop focus groups. These instruments are available and could be used also by other contexts in other countries. So during the research project, we developed the research with 38 focus group and interviews. We also get data about more than 150 stakeholders that participated in the survey. Most of you probably received the survey and started to answer it, but finally we analyzed 180 or more or less. And we also analyzed more than 1,200 educational programs from which we get the information about which is the current situation about the educational programs in Europe. So when we develop the analysis, as you can see in the analysis stage, we develop some reports which are available in our website. And the main idea of this report is to show which is the current situation of programs analysis, which are the stakeholders' needs. And one of the most important document for us is the educational and skills gaps. So this is the document that could be used by educational institutions in order to know what can they do to improve their programs in order to give students the competences needed by the industry. And finally, but not least, we developed a co-create process to develop the Your Future experience, which is like the way that students and also unemployed people or professionals who wants to change their job, which is the way they can follow in order to access your bioeconomy. So we think that with the materials we developed, we can motivate them and also orientate them to this way. So in the next slide, you can see which are the resources available in our website. As you can see, we decided that this website could be like a hub where people can enter and access so many resources related to bioeconomy and specifically to bioeducation. So you can find other initiatives which are somehow similar to Your Biofuture. There are the second and the third one, the job opportunities and internships and map of educational programs. This is something that we expect to be alive after the project. And here companies can upload their job opportunities, and also educational institutions can upload the programs they are developing and they are implementing in their context. So this is the two activities that it's going to be more updated in our website, but we have also a map of pilot sites. We add some information about success cases in the field of bioeconomy. And you can also find a set of materials that I explained before we developed in the framework of Your Biofuture experience. All the materials will be in our website or are already in our website, in fact, and also the reports we developed during the project. There are also some webinars we developed before during the project when the project was ongoing. So they are also available in the website, so anyone can check it. And if you want further information, we are always available through the website. So this is the presentation of Your Biofuture. Now you will have some inputs given by my colleague Ana Martinez.
Thanks, Aleix. And okay, so we proceed very quickly. We have actually 224 participants, but we are receiving some message that someone is having a problem in connecting, and probably the net is very full in these days, so maybe there are some technical issues, but nevertheless, we are recording the session, so this will be made available in the LIFT website. So if some of your colleagues cannot, join, unfortunately, we apologize, but everything will be available. So next block is Alex. If you can go to the next. Okay, this is a short introduction to the next area, that is awareness raising and communication. Here, the presenter will be John Vos.
Good morning, everybody from the Netherlands. My name is indeed John Vos from Biomass Technology Group, and I will present the fact sheet on awareness raising and communication. It is good to know that we look back for a period of about 10 years when we investigated what the different CSA and CSA-like projects produced. And 60 is a lot more than the CSA funded directly by BBI, that were just 14. In the category of awareness raising, we found 8 projects that had some relevance or a very high relevance. The oldest one being Bioprom, the newest one being BioBridges. Some of these projects almost exclusively focused on awareness raising, and others had this as one of their areas. It's also maybe interesting to know that there are 2 future projects on their way. One to be funded by BBI and one to be funded by the regular Horizon 2020 program. But their contracting still needs to be completed. Next slide. What were the achievements from these various projects? Well, with 8 projects, they probably have generated 50, 60, 80, I don't know how many outcomes. So this is really just a nutshell. And I can only touch on some of the highlights. What they did is they generated a broad range of engagement formats that varied from targeted focus groups, including just half a dozen of people, to physical workshops and webinars like the current one, to the active presence at small and large exhibitions, and not to mention all the online activities. And I think altogether, the awareness of hundreds of thousands of people may have been raised about various aspects of the bioeconomy and bio-based products. Besides targeting citizens directly, these projects also targeted professionals that communicate about the bioeconomy and bio-based products. For instance, this was the case in the Bio project. Well, working with these different targets yielded a range of just for your information, I got a system message that the connection is poor. I will nonetheless proceed.
Yes, John, you are with some cuts, but it's still possible to understand you.
Okay. Well, the main text of what I have to present is on the screen. So hopefully this will give you sufficient guidance to pick up what I try to convey. What I was saying is that working with different target groups yielded a range of lessons learned, recommendations, and practical guidelines about bioeconomy and bio-based communication. A range of different awareness raising and engagement formats for both online and offline interaction. Well, several of these projects documented their experiences, lessons, and recommendations in summary publications, like booklets, like tools, like awareness raising materials. And we collected all of these in the library that the LIFT project set up, the bioeconomylibrary.eu. Last, in considering the overall theme of these series of webinars, which, as Susanna pointed out, is shaping the innovation ecosystem for the bioeconomy, certainly not the least is that the collaboration these projects helped the collaboration between bioeconomy awareness stakeholders in a specific region or economic sector. Next slide. So these different projects, they help to put the bioeconomy and bio-based products on the radar, but it may not be more than a glimpse. I mean, there are more than 500 million people in Europe. We reach several hundred thousands of them. In absolute terms, that's a significant number. In relative terms, it's still less than 1%. So when expanding and deepening awareness raising and communication, which we think is still key, there are several needs to be considered and gaps to be bridged. One is that the terminology used is not always correctly understood by citizens. Also, claims made about, for example, environmental performance are not always substantiated. And therefore, we conclude that the bioeconomy is too abstract, complex, and not easy to understand. There's a need to address terminology, confusion, and misunderstandings, and to provide a scientific basis to communication. We also see that there is a need to zoom in on the role and relevance of bioeconomy in everyday life issues, and to substantiate the contribution bio-based products can make. In short, a need to address societal and consumer requirements and concerns, and to provide information on the sustainability and impacts of bio-based products and services, so that trust and acceptance can be built. Thirdly, citizens is just one of the target groups. To allow the bioeconomy to bloom, there is also a parallel need to inform other stakeholders, and this can be interpreted very broadly, like primary producers, procurers, industries, brand owners, retailers, intermediaries, and policymakers. And of course, European funded projects, but also national and local projects, they cannot reach everyone themselves. To maximize impact, it is key to involve and make enthusiastic young people and other multipliers. Think of teachers, architects, influencers, etc. Next slide. So what do these projects reveal in terms of recommendations for future projects and initiatives? We think that raising awareness, increasing knowledge, and engaging citizens in agenda setting, better fitting their needs and expectations is key, and can play an important role in driving the transition towards a more sustainable production, consumption, and lifestyle. To design impactful awareness and communication strategies, messages should be tailored to different target audiences. Innovative channels can be used, large-scale events, science festivals, workshops, fairs, as well as tools such as games, videos, art gallery, augmented reality, 60-second science, contests, etc. And of course, the different social media. Messages should be simple, concrete, applicable in real life, address potential risk and hurdles, address confusion and contradictory messages, fake news and miscommunication, greenwashing, etc. Beyond simple awareness raising, there's also a need to organize knowledge transfer and info education that provides real, tangible, appealing, and inspiring examples to make the bioeconomy concrete for the target beneficiaries, to build trust and acceptance by providing objective knowledge, including impacts, the pros as well as the cons. As the fifth recommendation, we say that exploring new solutions and multipliers should not just inform citizens, but also other stakeholders, like those I mentioned previously. And also think about beneficiaries actually not targeted, such as elderly people, the less mature bioeconomy countries, etc. We recommend to promote school projects targeting children and young people at different levels of education. Activities in the context of science festivals, large-scale events and exhibitions, and social media that are used particularly by the young generation, and you can think of Instagram, so that we can inform, inspire, and engage the citizens of tomorrow. We should target and involve multiplied ambassadors, like informed and sensitive consumers, teachers, students, professionals, influencers, science promoters, make use of testimonials, engage startups, brand owners, retailers, industries, politicians, projects, and associations, or in short, we need everyone on board. And last but not least, to facilitate the clustering, exchange, and mutual learning among projects, initiatives like LIFT and the European Bioeconomy Network and multi-actor stakeholders, an open dialogue should be facilitated so that a structured and consolidated action plan can be drawn up on the future communication of the bioeconomy. And that's in line with the updated European Bioeconomy strategy. So far for my presentation, and back to the moderator.
Okay, great. Thanks, everybody. Unfortunately, we are experiencing some problem with the connection. I guess that all the kids are following the teachers online this for all over the world. So probably the net, really collapsing. But let's keep on doing, let's be strong. And in any case, we will record this session. We will see if this session is good enough. If it is not good enough, we will record it with few people connected, so you will have it free. You will have it ready to be, listening in a better shape. Okay, let's go to the next question. So I would like, so this is the fact sheet, just before I forget. You will find the link in the presentation, so you will be able to connect to the fact sheet where there are much more information than the few that we are able to give you during this webinar. So if we go to the next one, Alex, to the Mentimeter. So again, back to the menti.com. We need your feedback. So again, the code is 838424, and we would like to hear from you. What are your additional recommendations for awareness raising and communication?
Susanna, will you moderate? Shall I do that?
Sorry. I thought I was on. So use brand owners, webinars like this one. Okay, great, perfect. Focus on digital. Join action plan. Work with the region. Hands-on workshops. Industry engagement. I already also seen stakeholders. If you want to tell us which type of stakeholder are missing actually, and we will need to focus on them. Create hubs where stakeholder can get in touch and collaborate. This is related to education. A success story. Produce a science hub. Listen to young people. So please tell us what are the targets that are actually missing. Who are the multipliers to be involved?
I see also videos being mentioned a couple of times. I see the word games come across. Maybe interesting to know that one of the new projects that is to start this year will actually look at serious games in the bioeconomy.
Exactly. So we also have here some multipliers, educators, the videos again, infographics. So be practical. Education of kids for primary school and bioeconomy, local language, and also we have seen adapt the language to to the target, and involvement of an institution, shape the message. Okay,
working at the local level is also key, because the circumstances across countries and regions can differ a lot, so the communication should be tailored, at least to a certain extent, to the local setting.
Yes, we will see better this on the third part where we talk about the stakeholder engagement, in which we also have the engagement of the stakeholders at local level, the kids, exhibitions, so touch and feel.
Child families, youth organizations is also very useful feedback. Thanks for that.
Okay, so I think that maybe we can proceed. We will make available all these results, and then excuse me. We will have it available, and so please go to the LIFT website and find all this information. So next block will be about if you can go to the next, Alex. Okay, it will be about bioeconomy education.
Hi everyone, here Ana Martinez from Sustainable Innovations. I work at the consulting company that is in charge of BioFuture's communication and dissemination activities. Thank you all for joining. So here we have the projects, some of the projects related to bioeconomy and education. BioFuture is the first one appearing. And well, as you've already learned from my colleague Alex, we are trying to boost education in bioeconomy and to bridge the gap between educational programs and the skills needed by the industry. As you can see here, there are many other related activities. We have, for example, Bioeconomy, which is providing clear, scientifically sound messages about bio-based products and their importance. Bioways, which is promoting the potential of the bioeconomy by raising awareness of bio-based products and applications. Bloom, to raise awareness and enhance knowledge on bioeconomy. InProBio, which is a forum for bio-based innovation in public procurement. AB, accelerating the transition towards the bio-based economy via education. And then the last one, which is a name in nuts, which I don't know how to pronounce, honestly. It would be something like Grenzenloos bio-based onderwijs, which
Grenzenloos bio-based onderwijs.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you. I think it means something like borderless and boundless bio-based education, right?
Correct.
Okay, so these are some of the projects targeting education in bioeconomy, and you can move, yeah, thank you. So which are some of the achievements of all these projects? So first of all, we got some insights in the present and in the future skills needed across the bioeconomy. There is an ongoing work on mapping university-level bio-based economy programs, of which we are part. For example, in BioFuture, we have mapped all the educational programs addressing curricula related to bioeconomy in Europe, or at least we have tried to do so. We have worked on developing educational programs and materials for all levels of education. We have created materials targeting the younger generations, some of them based on learning while having fun, which is also known as edutainment. So gamification, it's really important, as we were seeing before. There has been a development of training materials for public procurement professionals. One of the projects we've seen before was focusing on that. And in parallel with the traditional educational paths, new formats are emerging, like mutual learning and knowledge sharing, collaborative learning and co-creation, transfer of good practices, etc. These seem to be very effective to drive the transition towards bioeconomy, especially when targeting beneficiaries that are already active in the market. So after we've done all this, we've seen that there are still some gaps to be bridged, which we can see in the next slide. So there is a poor connection between different programs. We have, for example, Erasmus+, Interreg, H2020, BBI projects. There is also not enough collaboration, networking, and knowledge sharing on bioeconomy topics between educational providers and the industry. And moreover, there needs to be more collaboration with the industry to understand the bio-based needs. So what do companies need? What does the industry need? And which are they going to need in the future? So we also need to understand the future demand for a skilled workforce along the entire value chain. New curricula needs to be addressed. For example, education plays an important role in driving the structural change towards a more sustainable production, consumption, and lifestyle. As of today, sustainability and circular bioeconomy are not addressed enough by traditional school curricula. There must be an increase of bioeconomy programs, as they are still very limited and technology-driven rather than interdisciplinary and cross-sectoral. We should integrate bioeconomy principles and contents into already existing educational curricula to enrich the skills and competencies of the students, also increasing their employability. As we've already said before, we should understand the bioeconomy as a cross-sectoral field. Transversal skills and competencies are increasingly needed for a complex and rapidly evolving sector like the bioeconomy. There is a lack of education curricula targeting potential beneficiaries, for example, primary producers, procurers, entrepreneurs, startups, policymakers. We should promote opportunities offered by the bioeconomy tailored to their needs, adapting, as people were mentioning in the Mentimeter before. We have to adapt the language, we have to adapt to their time availability, we need to adapt to their delivery preferences regarding formatting. People were talking about videos. Some people may prefer videos, some people may prefer other formats. We need to make sure we reach out to everyone we are targeting. In addition, regional authorities need support in the identification of educational skills based on the local resources and needs. So here again, the importance of bridging the gap, in this case at the regional level, and to collaborate with local community as well, as we were mentioning. Finally, in order to compete in the bioeconomy, companies need a skilled workforce. So it's key to make the younger generation interested in bioeconomy studies and careers to fulfill the growing demand of talents. So here we have the gaps. So now we would also like to explore some of the recommendations. We can go to the next slide, please. So among our recommendations, we have to facilitate the networking, knowledge sharing, and collaboration among different programs, projects, and initiatives, like, for example, the European Bioeconomy Network, as well as among universities, such as the European Bioeconomy University. It's important to stimulate the debate around education in bioeconomy towards an improved educational system that better responds to the evolutions of this field, involving industrial partners, regional authorities, member states, education providers, and all the relevant stakeholders. To address the evolution of the bioeconomy labor market, new skills and competencies should be identified so that we make sure that the future workforce responds to the real and updated, because they are changing all the time, needs of all the bioeconomy sectors. These skills should include transversal competencies that are needed to address the complex challenges of the bioeconomy. As we were saying before, it is a cross-sectoral field, so it needs to be addressed in this way. New formats for the delivery of bioeconomy education should be explored to better respond to the different emerging needs, exploiting the good practices implemented by different projects and initiatives. Some examples are mobilization and mutual learning, living laboratories, co-creation of knowledge, the integration of bioeconomy into existing curricula and programs. To maximize the opportunities offered by all the areas of the bioeconomy and to contribute to the creation of an innovation ecosystem, new educational paths targeting feedstocks providers, policy makers, intermediaries, entrepreneurs, multipliers like teachers and the media, as we were talking before, should be implemented. Education needs and curricula needs should be designed and implemented at the regional level, or even, as we were saying, at the local one, so that we can tailor the focus on the specific resources and conditions of each area. Nevertheless, an integrated vision of the whole educational framework should be designed centrally at a European level in this case, and then deployed locally, even with the support of dedicated projects supporting the regions in this process. Last but not least, school activities should start very early, in primary school or even before. This is fundamental to grow a future generation which has the knowledge and is sensitive to environmental issues through info education programs. We have to use appealing channels and tools like games, social media, competitions, videos, live events, series, anything that can come up to our minds that may engage these youngest generations. This will help to raise a generation that is informed, inspired, and interested in bioeconomy, and then it will attract the talented youngsters towards education and careers in this domain. Okay, so that was a quick one. So Lyft has summarized all this in a fact sheet that you can download from their website. Once we make available this presentation, you will have the link as well there. And now we would love to go back to the Mentimeter and know your opinion on this and get to know what are your additional recommendations for the creation of an innovation ecosystem for the bioeconomy in regards to the bioeconomy education in this case.
just a quick technical note. We will answer. We are trying to answer to the question and answers real time, but it's not easy because we are jumping from one place to another. So we will anyway put a place in the LIFT website where we will answer later with more information to the question and answer.
Okay,
I can add to ladies, I can add to it that I have just included a list of 62 projects in one of the answers because there were some questions what projects we looked at.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so what?
Okay, so some of the recommendations, people are talking about having multidisciplinary backgrounds, which is like aligned with bioeconomy being a cross-sectoral field, using social media, being more concrete. Yes, bioeconomy is very complex, so we should focus on the specifics and maybe simplify, or not simplify because oversimplifying is not good, but focusing and explaining well. Doing pilot plant trainings, we have done that actually at UrbioFuture. More basic explanations. Yeah, we try. It's not always easy to simplify these kind of topics, but scientific topics are complex, but we always work with communicators to make them more simple and accessible for the general public. More trainings, practicality of knowledge, show good examples. Regarding show good examples, we have some success cases, for example, in the UrbioFuture website, doing training of lecturers and teachers. That's key. If the people educating is not well aware, it's difficult that they can transmit their knowledge. Site visits for schools, we are also doing that, and workshops with the students as well. We're trying to engage students from the earlier stages, and I think it definitely works. Training experiences in companies, yeah, that's something key, because we need to link the bioeconomy education with the practicality, with the workforce, with the real working world. In the end, people will get attracted by bioeconomy when they find out there are plenty of jobs they can do in that field as well, and that there is a demand for the workforce. Show good examples, more best practices, clear explanation on what is the bioeconomy, definitely.
There is also the info education that is a more basic education, so it's not really to teach what bioeconomy is to experts, but rather to inform the general public in order to involve the citizen in this behavioral and societal change. So through practical examples, videos, touch and feel.
Storytelling, I think it's really good. Everything is easier to understand when there is a story behind and when you use storytelling techniques to get to the public.
Yeah.
Case studies with, yeah.
Yeah, it's good to know that the system is a bit slow. I submitted something like a minute ago and it's not on the screen yet. So, but please be assured that your feedback will be gathered appropriately.
Yeah, I think it's we are too many at the same time.
Yes, actually there are 300 people connected, and we know that there are some people that are trying to enter and they cannot. So we will make available everything, the videos, the material, all the outcomes from these interactive sessions, the question and answer. We will make everything available for you. Okay, maybe we can proceed to the last block. So this block is about stakeholder engagement and co-creation. It has been already touched somehow in the other two sections. And here we analyze the project that you can see. So BioVoices, that is organizing more than 70 mobilization and mutual learning events around Europe. BioBridges, that is connecting the brands and the consumers with the bio-based industry. Power for Bio and Be Rural, that are twin projects that are working with with the regions to develop their action plan. Bloom, that is about bioeconomy education. BioStep, that is a concluded project but was very precious to provide a recommendation for the stakeholders, and then several interreg. Road to Bio, that was more on the chemical bioeconomy to develop roadmaps. Okay, next screen. So what are the main achievements? First of all, the project develop and test a large number of tools, instruments, and also approaches to foster stakeholders engagement. And this is very precious because is it possible in the future to really take this knowledge and to tailor to the national regional context? So next type of stakeholder to be involved are really the ones locally that should really bring what is from let's say what is more general and valid for Europe to the specific reality, regional reality. Then the project deliver a system mapping of the main challenges to be addressed, and this is a valid knowledge, actionable knowledge for the stakeholder, in particular for the policy makers. And then they provide lesson learned, guidelines, methodology, and recommendation for stakeholder engagement. This is all available even in the Bioeconomy library. All the results of this 60 project in a form of more than 300 contents are available in the library. If you are from some project and you would like us to add something, please contact the project and we will do it. Then provide insightful knowledge about public acceptance of bio-based products. This was one of the questions raised. This has been done particularly by BioVoices and BioBridges, but also BioCanDo, and also the collaboration barriers among the stakeholders. We mobilized, I mean, because we are involved in some project, but the project mobilized a large number of stakeholders and facilitated the debate and mutual learning among them. And then the establishment of the European Bioeconomy Network, that is a network actually of more than 50 projects and initiatives. If you're not part of it, please come back to me to be part of it, because it's really a powerful tool to exchange knowledge and to foster collaboration. Okay, next one. Next slide. Gaps still to be bridged. The first one is the insufficient bottom-up approach and co-creation of shared solution involving all the stakeholders. And this is evident in the second one. There are still some stakeholders that are out of the games, that are not invited to contribute. So mainly the primary producers, but also the policymakers that somehow are aside, and they cannot benefit from the insightful contents that are developed by the other stakeholders. Civil society, the consumers, but also all the association and the direct citizen that can really contribute to shape the bioeconomy agenda. And therefore, as a consequence of this, let's say, sectorial or silos, is the fact that the priority of these people are not integrated into bioeconomy, industrial and policy agendas, while we need to really make sure that everybody's on board. And of course, in order to put all these people together to speak, still there are several differences in terms of knowledge, in terms of trust. It's not easy to trust each other. And then there is a poor understanding on the concern and the perspective of the other. So we really need to work together in order to make everything shared and agreed. And then regarding the regions, it's not possible to apply a standard approach to the different regions because the resources, the needs are totally different. And methodology, so a framework is necessary to design a framework to really engage all the relevant stakeholders. Some projects are already tackling with this. For instance, the new project Sherpa will do somehow this type of activity, but still is important to work on it. And therefore, we have some recommendations out of our analysis in the next slide. Alex, can you go to the next? Okay, great. So first of all, ensure multi-stakeholder engagement and mobilization, because this is really key for the creation of the innovation ecosystem of the bioeconomy. That is, we are coming back to our main goal, making sure that all stakeholders are involved, and of course including the one that we identified as missing, but also of course industries and finance, because they have to find. There is a discussion these days around this situation in which we are all launched in. If it's really an opportunity, if we can make this crisis as an opportunity to redesign our society. We think, yes, maybe we will organize a debate on this. Okay, to address the complexity of the bioeconomy and the bioeconomy challenges, a bottom-up co-design of shared solutions is needed, because this really promotes the trust, the acceptance, and also the sense of ownership. If you develop something and you are part of the game, then this really, you really believe that this is part of your work, and you will also adopt and implement in your reality. What is key is the sharing of success stories and good practices, because you can get inspired, you can even learn from the mistakes, and also to create a common awareness and understanding, and also to motivate people and inspire them. We already touched the fact that all these activities should be tailored to the stakeholders that will receive it, but also to the regional needs and problems. And then it is important to ensure transparency, integration of all perspectives, and identification of the challenges that are relevant for all the stakeholders. And also, of course, to define indicators to measure the impact of these activities. And all the work that has been done by the CSA should become more available and particularly actionable by the stakeholders, because the CSA did a great job, but this should be really taken and put in practice by the stakeholders. So this is a recommendation that we also give to the SC and to the BIGU, for instance, regarding the new activities that should be undertaken in Horizon Europe. And then, of course, facilitate the transfer and replication of successful methodologies in different contexts, even in different formats. So we need to design scalable roadmaps, for instance, because the conditions are different. Okay, I'm done. We would like to hear from you to add your additional feedback, again, through the Mentimeter. This is the fact sheet. You will find the link in the presentation. This is the fact sheet related to stakeholder engagement and co-creation. There will be the link in the presentation. So, what are your additional recommendations for stakeholder engagement and co-creation? What we miss in our outcomes? What you recommend? I hope that, the technology will support us. Unfortunately, really, I guess everybody is connected all over the world. Here we have 273 participants, so probably even the system is a little bit under pressure.
We could have some delay on Mentimeter itself, so
yes,
but if the people will write something, it will be registered.
Yeah, we don't see them.
But it's not a problem from the webinar. It's the Mentimeter itself.
Yes, all the systems are crashing in these days, and it's a big test. Technology crisis also together. Anyway, do we want to try to go to the next and then eventually to come back, Alex? The next
well,
question.
we are finalizing the webinar. There is this final interaction with the Mentimeter. Let's see if it works. That is.
And eventually we will try to go back. Okay, this final answer, I hope it will work. Anyway, you will be able to go back to the Mentimeter and to add your feedback, because they are really important for us. As you see, you probably, if you participated to the BBIJU Stakeholder Forum, to the different session in the project day, you can recognize some insights, because all the material that we are presenting during this webinar have different sources. One is the analysis of this 60 project that we analyzed under LIFT. The second is the interviews that we run with more than 40 coordinators of different projects. And the third source of information is the debate that took place during the BBIJU Stakeholder Forum. Meanwhile, we luckily have some...
Yes, so we...
Go, Alex. Okay, this is the...
Yeah, so we can go back, and because it's working now.
So regarding the recommendation for the stakeholder engagement and co-creation, focus on scaling. That's good recommendation. Establish real labs, and please follow the Sherpa project, because they are doing this. They are creating regional hubs, fostering open innovation and open source approaches. That's a great also suggestion. Create relation based in confidence. Yes, confidence, trust, these are key, especially when you work with someone that was out of the game. Europe EU support network expanded. Oh, yes. Did you ask the stakeholders? Well, we in several projects the stakeholders are on board, and hopefully also today there are a number of stakeholders, because we invite them. Regional labs. Okay. Talking more about the benefits. This is important, especially when we go, for instance, to primary producers. We need to really present what is important for them, what is really meaningful for them, and not just to talk generally about what bioeconomy is. So, of course, practical examples. So what else? Allow small and simple for small and simple to deliver rewards. Yes, this is another interesting insight. So mechanism to reward and to motivate the people to participate. Provide to them concrete bioeconomy opportunities. More or less, we kind of touch it, but also market analysis and economic data. Special program for NGO. Okay, on-site engagement. Yes, definitely. Bioeconomy should be deployed regionally, and so all the activities that are regional are the ones that work, because they are rooted on the regional resources and also the innovation. The regional approach is another point. Okay, so I think we are nearly on the limit. So thanks for participating. I hope that I mean we will try to improve and to overcome the limits that we had today, particularly technological limits. I hope that you will be able to go back and to really scan deeply the contents and maybe find something that is absolutely relevant for you. And okay, so from my side, thanks everybody. I want to give the word to all the other.
Yeah, just to say what you said some minutes ago, that is, we didn't have the time to answer to all the questions, also because we are speaking at the same time. but we will collect these questions and answer you by email the following days.
Okay, I see that they are arriving. I mean, we have the refreshment about the feedback. The feedback is important because we would like, of course, to improve. So again, thanks
Thank you very much.
The LIFT team and your future team. And thanks mainly to all of you for your patience, for your enthusiasm, and for your participation. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Well,
Thank you.
We were very
Thank you,
precise.
everyone.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye.